rotary aircraft in, we can start moving. And then we get the front end loaders and we start pushing to get the runway open for C-130 support that can help get us going if we need medical transport. We get aid assistance, whatever we need. The airports are going to be a hub for us right now, kind of our lifeline until
no kidding.
Until we
and
can
you can
figure
get
out what's going on.
You can get C-130s into that airport.
We can get C-130 support into Marathon, no problem. It's an extremely long runway.
That's the runways. We're looking at the runways now. I hope when you get there, it's going to be in good shape. Bill, for Chuck, who's on his way into, they're making their way down from Key Largo. He's saying that there's still heavy winds over there. What are we looking at? Is he going to expect heavy winds for a while?
Yeah, they're still going to get gusts probably right through the evening up to about 50 miles per hour. Obviously, that's the population area, and this is the airport here. And you know, we haven't really heard about all the bridges that connect and you know, what's accessible yet and what's not. You know, they're cutting their way through. Which
Chuck, have you gotten any bridges yet?
Yeah, and listen, this is a really important point, Allie. Thank you for bringing it up. There's a lot of information that gets flowing out there. Some of it is accurate, some of it is inaccurate. There's been numerous reports that there's been bridges out. However, we've already confirmed that one bridge isn't. And so we want to be real careful what we push out about the bridges.
Yep.
Right now, our intent is to get to Marathon and put eyes on every single bridge and check along the way so we can get accurate information back to our emergency manager who's in the temporary EOC in Key Largo.
And Chuck, because everything you tell me goes out to the nation, so we appreciate having real eyes on. You are not. It's not just Marathon you're worried about right now. You've been hunkered down with a bunch of officials from a few places in the Central Keys, right?
Yeah, and I apologize just to talk about Marathon. I got to tell you, we've got everyone with us, and we're checking and going along the way as we go. We're concerned about all of our families all throughout the entire Florida Keys, and the best message to get out to everybody is, you know, we're doing our absolute best, and we're going to work all night long to get to everybody and get help.
Chuck, a real credit to you and the decision-making of your team to get out of there so that you can actually go back and do it the way you're doing it in an orderly fashion. So thanks very much, Chuck. Stay in touch with us. As you get eyes on things, please keep in close touch with us, and we'll report that out so that people know what to do.
And I think it's important for us to give a quick update. I mean, we spent so much attention on Naples, that northern eye. It hasn't weakened that much, and now it's even over a bigger city. It's right over the top of the Fort Myers area. Yep. All the way out to North Fort Myers and Cape Coral. This is the northern eye right in here, and that's the leading edge of it.
Just getting up to Fort Myers now.
Right. That's the eye wall. That's where we still have the chance for significant wind damage.
That's really heavy,
it'll still sound like the train outside your door. Trees will come down. That's still when you want to be in your shelters. So the areas around that, you know, I can zoom in on it. Some of these little small towns that are in this or very close to it. So there's Fort Myers there, San Carlo Park, Lehigh Acres. Then if you head over towards Captiva, the winds probably are very strong in Captiva and Sanibel, but not quite as bad as Fort Myers.
And Bonita's in the eye now.
That's getting into the eye, yes.
If you're in Bonita Springs, you're looking up there, you're probably seeing pretty clear skies. Hang on, Bill, I want to go over back to Fort Lauderdale. I just want to give you an update. Florida Power and Light is reporting over $2.5 million outages. Power outages up another $500,000 right now. Total customers are 4.9 million. So half of all Florida electrical customers are out of energy right now. The largest outages are in Miami-Dade, 888,000. Broward, which is just north of Miami-Dade, 666,000. And in Palm Beach County, north of that, 458,000. So right now, all of the outages that are being reported are on the East Coast. We know for a fact that there are outages because our reporters are telling us on the Gulf Coast of Florida. So you know that 2.5 million number is going to go up. I want to go back to Fort Lauderdale. Joling Kent, I hope that thing didn't fall on you. I hope you got there after it fell, Joling.
No. Yeah, I certainly did. And the reason you're seeing so many outages here in Broward County and Fort Lauderdale is because of wind gusts that are bringing down stop signs like this one. We have seen the wind continue to increase throughout the day, Allie, and that has resulted in some downed power lines. And of course, these palm tree fronds, those major branches with those leaves flying through the streets here. And we also want to show you here, there's a major mega church right next door here, Allie. It's called the Cavalry Church, and the wind brought down its main sign. Let's just walk right over here, Caesar, and show you that was brought down just a couple of hours ago. So you've got 600,000 people in Broward County without power. They've all been under a curfew until tomorrow morning. Broward County Sheriff is saying stay safe, get into the safest place in your home, because even though we're not in the eye of the storm here, you can see that the damage is really starting to materialize in a different way here. We've seen some pretty significant downed trees as well, some flooding, and we actually haven't even been able to get to the coast yet because those bridges are closed for safety reasons, but we've heard that there's significant flooding, submerged cars along the beach side now, Allie.
Right, and this is important. This sign is sort of telling of something that Chris Hayes and I were just talking about, and that is that after the saturation gets into the ground, it's going to take a lot less effort for poles, for signs, and for trees to be uprooted. The amount of wind that it would take 10 hours ago to uproot a tree is now substantially lower because that ground is so wet.
Yeah, absolutely. The ground is sopping wet, and a lot of this ground on this street here on Cypress Creek Road, we've actually seen covered in water, and then it's no longer covered in water, and then it's covered in water again. So that sogginess is definitely a real factor here. As this wind continues to pick up, we're getting hit with these outer bands. We may not be in the eye of the storm, but it certainly feels very serious, and that's why folks are continuing to stay home.
And I want to just show people, Jolene, and stay safe. I want to just go over here and show people about the fact that there are still hurricane warnings in all of this area. So Jolene's over here. She's south of Melbourne, north of Miami, over here. This whole area, we were just talking to Bill Nelson in Orlando. All of this is still under a hurricane warning. So remember, this is very, very serious. This is where you have to go to get into a tropical storm warning. Atlanta, for the first time ever, got a tropical storm warning. Not a watch, a warning. Atlanta, there's no water anywhere around the place. They don't get these sorts of things. And Atlanta is in a tropical storm warning. So this is important to understand how big this thing and how it's not done. It's going to hit the Georgia coast. You're going to get into Alabama over here. And you've still got Florida, not even anywhere clear of all of this. Let's go to Kristen Dahlgren. She's in Fort Myers, which is now I'm seeing a pixelated picture here because it's actually pretty serious now. Fort Myers is getting the back end of this storm. We're going to see if that picture comes through for us. Kristen, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Allie, and hopefully you can see us. Obviously, you know, the cell signals we have some problems with during these storms, and the winds now are just whipping. This is really the eye wall that we have been waiting for coming ashore. You can see what the winds are doing to these trees, and keep in mind, we're inland a bit. So along the coast, this is going to be even worse. And take a look back here. We've been talking so much about water and how that's a big problem in hurricanes. So we have this standing water on the road here. This isn't storm surge. This is just the ground here is so saturated already that any rain, any water in some of these lower lying areas, and you're getting water on roads like this, that could be very dangerous. If people think they can head out. You don't want to drive through water like this. And then, of course, the storm surge, as we go through the back half of the storm, is going to be very dangerous, potentially deadly along the coast. So still a long night ahead for people here in Fort Myers.
Right, so a couple of key points you just made. First one that Jolene made, that at these speeds, these wind speeds, little things that otherwise wouldn't be hurtful to you can be deadly. People die from signs and little things being shot around. The second thing is this is a storm surge, which means it's going to come inland. It's going to go east, and then it's going to wash out west again. So you're going to get it twice. So this isn't just a flood. Kristen, you're getting blown around pretty well there. This isn't just water flooding. This is dangerous. If you think you're going to walk out in it and you're going to drive around in it, you have to know this is moving water, which is more powerful than you and more powerful than your car.
Right, exactly. And just so people don't think we're being careless here, one, we're out here so you don't have to be, but look, I've got a baby at home. I'm not taking any chances. I know my husband's probably watching, so I want to tell him we're being really careful out here. We are by a big building here, so we're not even getting the worst of the winds towards us, so we've been, hiding out inside there a little bit to stay out of it. And then I've got my producer here, Aaron, who I keep telling to come out and watch for anything that might be flying our way. And so far, that's just been the smaller things, but we really are aware of how dangerous dangerous this can be.
All right, the one thing you have to be careful about, because it's hard to see, and I'm glad Aaron is out there keeping an eye for you, is tornadoes. Tornadoes inside of a hurricane are about the worst combination you can get. So it is important to show our viewers that our reporters know what to do in the event that it gets hairier than it already is. It's a dangerous job anyway, but you are always ready to take cover, and never mind whether I'm asking you questions. If it gets dangerous, just get inside and seek cover. Kristen, I'm just going to ask Bill to yell it out at me. Bill, are they fully on the other side of the storm yet in Fort Myers?
No, they're just in the northern side. They just started.
They just started the northern side, so Kristen's going to get the eye.
She's in the northern eye right now.
Okay, and then it's going to calm down for a while for her, and then she's going to get it again coming from the other side.
Then we'll worry about the storm surge this evening.
All right, so Kristen, you can hopefully get ready to relax for just a little bit, and we'll have some good conversations about what's going on when you're there. But look at these pictures. I'm going to ask my control room, is that Fort Myers we're looking at? That's Naples. All right. So take a look. Naples is getting the other side of the storm,
That's
Bill.
the back edge of the storm.
That's the wind coming from the other direction, coming from the east to the west.
That's the wind that is pushing in. So this is the northern. That's Jim Cantore in northern portions of Fort Myers, and he is in the northern eye wall right now.
Let's listen to him for a second.
How can you not see that? Look at how bright it just got. Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's it.
So what he's worried about is projectiles.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm worried for him.
Yeah, this is nuts. I've never seen that kind of brightening. Okay. Yeah, that brightening and darkening, and it looks like off to my northeast a little bit. It looks even, yeah, exactly. So off to my northeast, that's where the eye went. Off to my south and west, it's a little bit brighter here. So we're kind of, you're right, we're right at the edge, Brian. Right at the edge. Wow, look at that. Yes, it is.
I'm going to just show while we're listening to see what Jim does next. Let's just explain what's happening to Jim. He is now, the eye is passed
He's
over.
He's located in the Fort Myers area. I don't know exactly where this whole area right here is Fort Myers. So he was saying that he saw some brightening. He may actually be in between the bands. It does not look like Fort Myers itself. The eye is still down here, right over the springs in Bonita Springs.
So he may have seen something like this.
He may have been in between this heavy gust, this heavy band, and then in a little break, and then
where
there's
he
another
sees
heavy
some
band.
sky, and it looks like a relaxation, and then a big gust of wind.
He's not in it yet, but yeah, this is the strongest winds with the storm that is left. And the storm is further inland. We were thinking earlier today this track could be a little further off the coast, maybe over the water. It is now going to remain onshore for its duration all the way up until until it gets into Georgia.
Yeah.
That means it's a weaker storm for people to the north. Tampa, this is better for you. Inland storm, the storm surge may be a little bit less. So this trend inland, a little shift to the east. We've shifted west.
Is a little bit of a blessing.
Especially for our friends Tampa northwards. The storm will be weaker by the time it gets to you. We saw how strong it was Naples, Marco Beach, and then Bonita Springs, and now in Fort Myers. And even for our friends in Port Charlotte and heading up into Sarasota, this trend further east means less wind damage for you, but you're still going to get the storm surge. That hasn't changed.
Right, and that's important for people to remember. Bill, I want you to hang on for a few minutes. What I might control room, are we going to take a break or not? You and I have been in this all day, so what I want to do is when we come back, for those of you who are watching, we're going to reset.